Hello everyone! This is Joanne Cadilinia. Have you ever thought about the difference between knowing and understanding? In this video, let's learn together about the difference between knowing and understanding. Finding the difference between knowing and understanding can be difficult. It is hard to find a distinction between the two because they are both abstract processes of the mind and the brain. Being able to know their differences can lead us to a better awareness of ourselves, who we are, and what we want. So let's see the difference between knowing and understanding. What is knowing? Knowing, or the act of knowing, which is called knowledge, is defined as the expertise and skill acquired by an individual through his experiences and education. It includes facts and information about certain things of which you are certain about. It involves the basic recall of data, which have been previously presented. It involves perception, learning, communication, association, and reasoning. It may also mean the ability to use a certain thing or subject for an appropriate purpose. All information is processed by the mind, and to know it is to be familiar with it. The mind then passes the information to the brain. In short, knowing generally relates to facts, things that can be directly observed. For instance, students knowing protons and neutrons are may be able to identify them but unable to state their purpose in an atom. On the other hand, understanding defined as a psychological process related to a person, object, situation, or messages, which require an individual to think and use concepts to deal with. Understanding goes beyond simple recall of facts and information by way of finding connections between pieces of information. Understanding is processed in the brain, also called intellections. Understanding involves conceptualization and association. It is the awareness of the connection between pieces of information that are presented and has a deeper level than knowing. And in fact, it is essential in order to put knowledge to good use. In short, understanding normally involves having a sense of things or comprehending them. For example, students knowing protons and neutrons are able to identify them and understand the role they play in an atom. Another example, you will know that the weather is bad when there is rain, but you may not understand why it is happening. Learning how rain is formed and how it affects the weather is the key to understanding why the weather is bad. You may also recognize a written language and know what it is just by looking at the characters. But you will not understand it unless you take some time to study it. And now, let's find out another differences between knowing and understanding. Understanding is deeper than knowing. Understanding takes a long time to take place, whereas knowledge can take place sooner. The moment information is given, it is immediately processed in the mind, and then the individual will know about the subject. In order for the brain to understand, it must be presented with the same knowledge constantly. The more information that the brain receives about a subject, the better it will understand. In mathematics, it is not enough that students only follow the step illustrated by the teacher on the board in solving a problem. It is integral that students understand why and how the solution came up. In addition, a student can recite a certain mathematical property but does not know why that property exists. For instance, students know that any real number divided by 0 is undefined, but most of them cannot explain why. Another example is reciting formulas. Understanding a formula by way of derivation yields better learning outcomes than memorizing it. When students understand a formula, he can recall it better. When you understand, you are able to distinguish, explain, interpret, and summarize data. When you know, you are able to identify, label, list, name, and recall data. Both understanding and knowing are very important for our growth as individuals. They determine how we view and react to our environment and the people we associate with. And that's all for today. I hope you learned something in this video. Thank you. Goodbye.